Guys, deluded Guna, Adnan Januzaj. Now, this is a video of frustration for many reasons. He bursted onto the scene during David Moyes' season. We know it didn't work out for him at United. He was arguably the one bright spark at United during that period. I mean, goals and assists might not show it, but he did put in some convincing performances, and he did look one for the future. Louis van Gaal wasn't necessarily good for him. Didn't play really. Shipped off to Dortmund on loan. Didn't really work out for him there. You'd like to think on the surface playing with better players makes you better, but in terms of game time, it was limited. He was around players considerably better than him at the time. Didn't really have any playing time. Now he went to Sunderland under David Moyes. Guy gave him his chance at United. They're always going to be in a relegation fight. He was meant to come with great quality, be someone they could look for inspiration, be someone to lead from the front and and really show that he's added some consistency into his game. It didn't really happen. Did have some decent games, but I mean, at 22 years of age, a year left, 20 odd appearances for Sunderland and no more than 3 goals max. Not really sure of assists. It's not really doing you any justice. And at a big club like United, where there's several other promising youngsters like Andreas Pereira, who I tried to tell you guys is better than Adnan, you need to stand out or it's not going to happen. I mean, it's really not going to happen. And I mean, it is one of frustration because Adnan is a good footballer. He can play out wide, but I believe he's a 10 purely because he's got an eye for a pass. He's great at set pieces, corners or free kicks. His link-up play. He sees passes in the back of his head. His movement's good. He likes the ball to feet. I mean, he can play out wide and he can take someone on. He's got excellent dribbling, but for me, he doesn't really like balls into space and he doesn't like to continuously beat a man. So I believe he's a 10. But I also believe, like I said, he's 22 years of age. He's at one of the biggest clubs in the world and it's not happened for him. The penny needs to drop for him. I mean, we know the day and age of footballers. Before you even made it or accomplished anything, you can have the riches and the endorsements and everything. And to a degree, that's what's happened with Adnan. I don't know him personally. Obviously, we don't see what happens beyond closed doors. So he might be hungry. He might have desire, but we're not really seeing it. And it's annoying because he is a good footballer. And I do believe if the penny drops for him and him alone looks in the mirror and realizes how good of a player he can potentially be, he will come good. I mean, he's clearly talented because there's talk of Roma being in for him, a couple of top Spanish clubs in for him, even a couple of Premier League clubs for him. If football was just judged on technique and ability alone, everybody would take him. He's got that ability. It's just the attitude and the application. I mean, United coaches did have this same concern about him, and they said he's got the potential to win the Champions League. But as for the hunger, it's another question. And I mean, United's not at the point where they used to be in that. If Ferguson was still there and they were still basically going to make up a title challenge or win the league, they could give more. They could afford more time for these young players, but they're not. They're not where they're meant to be. So they can't really cater to his needs. Added to that, Jose is not that sort of manager to put his hand continuously round your shoulder and tell you to fix up. He's not going to be that dad sort of guy. He needs to see something from you. And I mean, it's not just Adnan. Adnan's seen it. Martial to a degree seen it. Shaw to a degree seen it. And even Depay fell victim of it. So yeah, you haven't really stood out. I mean, you're 22 years of age. You've got enough time to get your career on track. Your peak years are ahead of you. You've got 4 years until you're 26. I do believe you could be a footballer, a real good footballer, and you can still be a decent household name in football. The penny has to drop for Adnan and Adnan alone. No one can tell him how good he is. He knows how good he is. He's shown in patches, but like I said, at 22 years of age, it's not enough. And if he doesn't reach his potential, he can only blame himself. It's ridiculous. There was talk of him and Gnabry being neck and neck, and I mean, United fans and Arsenal fans used to go at it. I mean, as to who's better. Adnan can still catch him up, but right now you have to argue that it was a bit criminal to ever compare them because Gnabry is now flying and Adnan is doing what he's doing. But the guy can be a good footballer. I really believe in this guy, and it's just very frustrating when you see footballers like this. But there's not really much more to add on that front, guys. I mean, it looks like he's going to move from United. All you can do is hope that he matures, moving away from United, where it's one of the best academies and establishments in the world. Everything's taken from you, and he goes somewhere and he somewhat has to grow up and realize what he has, the opportunity he has is once in a lifetime. But that's it, guys. Like I said, not to what fault deluded. I'm signing out. Subscribe, comment, follow on social media. You guys know the drill.